let's see what's in store for another day doing custom stuff. I'm told today I'm picking from motorcycles. So we're working on a motorcycle today. Okay, so we're at the motorcycle bin. What do we have? Okay, so today we are working on the gray Street Glide bagger. We did a 3-part video series on this. On the first part, we made a fiberglass seat pan. The second part, we foamed it. And the third and final part, we are actually making the seat cover and finishing up and fine tuning it so that Matt could finally have his bike back. He's been super patient because whenever we do videos on certain projects, they seem to take a little bit longer than the other projects. So it's tough, but hopefully it's well worth it. If you've already seen our other 2 videos, thank you for watching them. If not, please check them out on our playlist. Let's get started. The seat is actually pretty close to where I want it now. Just about ready for the cover. I'm going to shave this a little bit down just because when the seat lifts up from the foam underneath it, this will be a little bit higher than the actual tank covers. Here it is. You'll notice here, like, we have different foam on here. The reason that we use a different foam is, one, it's for comfort. A lot of times you'll see people will do a custom seat and they'll use like a black neoprene foam, which is very firm. Those are awesome for sculpting and you can get them to look really good and you can stand them really smooth and everything. The problem is, comfort-wise, if you really ride your bike, there's different layers of foam that is needed. Like heavier riders need firmer foam, lighter riders need softer foam. But we actually try to pay attention to each of our customers to make sure that we dial you in with the right foam. If we did it in the black neoprene all the time, we have done that before and they look really cool, but a lot of people don't like to tour with them. One thing you'll notice is I have actually already decided what I'm going to do for a basic pattern. This crack here is where I'm going to do the butt seam, they call it. And what I did is I notched it out because I'm going to put the Savage material. That's the extra material on the edge where you sew the material together. So we're going to, even though I trim it, we're going to tuck it in here so it kind of pushes in a little bit and looks cleaner. We did it to the front and rear. We're also going to do on this one's going to be black leather with black suede, and we're going to do some custom gray stitching on here to kind of flow with the bike. Here's the fun part. We're actually making the pattern. As I showed you before, we cut our grooves and we put some lines in here. These lines, a lot of people ask what they're for. That's just so when we're making our pattern, we actually put the marks in there on each piece, and now we're able to line them up together and you stitch right along the edge. That extra edge of material there is actually called the Savage. Some people do a 1/2 inch. I either do a 1/4 inch or 3/8 depending on what machine I'm sewing with. Now I'm going to go through and make all my patterns and kind of think about what we want. Luckily with this customer, he actually knew what he wanted pretty much, so he showed us some pictures of some seats that were pretty cool. So he wants to do the black leather with the suede on the sides. He wants some stitching in there, some gray stitching to go with the bike. I'm gonna end up putting a double top stitch here. I don't really like doing French seams on bikes. I think French seams are good for cars, but on motorcycles, I don't like the way the edges fall around, some of the sharp edges. So we're just gonna do a double top stitch on here, and we'll do a butt seam here. We're gonna tuck that into our groove. Suede with some gray stitching on it. We'll do our leather with some gray stitching on it. We're gonna keep it kind of simple and clean. We don't wanna get too crazy with this one. I'm just gonna go through, finish up these patterns, transfer them to leather, and start stitching it up. Right now, I'm test fitting the cover. I'm gonna use pins. I'm gonna pull it down, pull it tight. Whenever you put your pins in, you wanna be careful. You don't wanna puncture a thread. So you're gonna kind of carefully sneak it in there, push it in. So now once I go around this whole seat, I'll be able to see exactly where I'm gonna put my bottom piece of material on. So I'm marking that, then I'm gonna trim it and stitch it on. Okay, so I'm finishing up this bike. I'm actually gonna start doing some of these videos during the workday. I'm tired of coming in early, working late, working weekends. They don't pay me enough for this. All right, so you can see we got the gaps a little bit tighter here. I'm still working these out. The cover's on. We gotta steam it, get rid of some wrinkles, but we're getting really, really close. And you can see Ian over there with his mask on, so we're COVID-19 safe. Okay, so now that we know the front of the seat fits well, I'm just going to fine tune it. I'm steaming out the seat. This just puts moisture in it and heats it up. You're supposed to steam leather from the bottom, but when you're doing a seat, how do you get the inside of this? It's not like a car. Just gonna get this nice and steamy. And then just kind of work it around and pull it tight. Try to get any wrinkles out of it. My rule of thumb is if someone gives you a seat and says that there's wrinkles in it and it'll come out in time, chances are they're not going to come out in time. You want to make sure it looks good when it leaves. The only exception to the rule sometimes is on the plastic seat pan models that have to kind of push in because you have to bend the seats up. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of a spring to them, and that will give it a little bit of wrinkleness. It'll give it some wrinkles. So if you actually push the seat in and hook it down, it'll stretch the seat out. I do see that, you know, quite a bit from the plastic seat pans. We're going to clean this up and get it on the bikes. Now it's my favorite part and the most nerve-wracking part because you have to put the seat on the bike. Hopefully it looks good, and we're really hoping the customer likes it.